The trick is figuring out what things you measure. That's the thing. Well, look at the big improvement once we got McDonald's all over it. And you know what the biggest problem was? Lack of management, broken equipment. We took some shabby old dumps and we made them work. You have to have at least adequate equipment. We did a lot of non-slip flooring, a lot of training, moving small groups of cattle and pigs. But I was amazed at some of the old dumps. We made work. I used every bit of design knowledge I had to make those dumps work. And out of 75 plants, only 3 had to build something expensive. And 3 had to have a managerectomy. Because that was their main problem. So all I'm trying to do is to get you really thinking. And get you thinking up in a more bottom-up way. Now, when I first started, I didn't know that my thinking was different. I thought everybody thought in pictures. So I used to call people that made visual thinking mistakes stupid. I don't do that anymore. But I didn't realize the extent that I think differently until I got in my late 30s, early 40s. And I asked a speech therapist, think about a church steeple, how does it come into your mind? And I was shocked that she just saw a vague pointy thing. I don't see a vague pointy thing. I see specific pictures and I start naming off where they're located. I'm seeing a church right by our high school. I'm seeing another church with a gigantic stainless steel cross. It's specific. It's specific, it's not vague. And when you realize that different people think differently, these different kinds of minds can complement each other. And I gotta make sure we're not screening these people out. So let's see how we're doing on time. We're supposed to go to 10:30 if I remember right. Well, we've got 10 more minutes. Okay, you got a question?
Are you familiar with the Common Core curriculum?
Common Core, well, yeah, I am. Well, it varies some with different states. And I am concerned about some of these algebra requirements screening out all the visual thinkers, and you need us. The water system in New York is crumbling. The water system in Pittsburgh is crumbling. And you need old-fashioned up to 6th grade math for all the skilled trades. That you do need, the way it used to be taught. That you need. You see, this is where algebra, if you want to go into quantum computing, yeah, we want to beat the Chinese on that. We need to be exposing kids to linear algebra, it's real high-end algebra stuff. That's not for me. I just know where to find it online. But I'm getting worried that in fact, when I went through the 2 meat processing plants, and it was just, it was last December, about 11 months ago I went through them. I was about ready to cry. The only thing we made in there was clunky cooler doors for the cold rooms. Those are too clunky and big to ship. We weren't making the other stuff. You know, we used to make all that stuff. And a lot of it has to do with taking the skilled trades out. The Europeans have not taken it out. One of the things in the plant was a robotic arm with a very clever tool on the end of it. Clever, non-electronic, super clever mechanical engineering. That's made by a visual thinker. And then the degreed engineer has to make the robotic arm work. But the visual thinker was the tool on the end of the robotic arm. You have to have the whole team. Now, when I talk about that, I'm seeing it. You see, that's how I think. We need our visual thinkers. Okay?
I work with a delightful 17-year-old autistic boy.
He's 17 years old. I'm just going to repeat it. Is he fully verbal?
No.
No. Okay.
And he likes people very well, but he also likes to sneak up to pretty staff members and kiss them.
Oh, that's no, we cannot. If he's nonverbal, 17 years old, he's sneaking up to pretty staff members and kissing them. Yeah, that's not okay. That's going to get you in a lot of trouble today. Well, I think see, for a fully verbal person, you just have to explain to them that you can land in jail for that. Fully verbal person, I've shown the sex offender site and said, you don't want an ankle bracelet with a GPS on the ankle. Your name put on this horrible website. That's what I would do with somebody verbal. Okay, somebody nonverbal, I have to explain to them, they just can't do this. There's certain things you can't do. You see, and there's other things that might be just considered naughty. But that's something you can't do. Well, does it work if you try rewarding him for not doing it? In other words, he gets a reward if he sees a pretty staff member for not trying to kiss him. You ever tried that?
No.
Just try that. It's rewarded for not doing it. Okay, right here.
What do you think of social stories? So I was thinking.
What do I think of social stories? Well, it's just one of the tools in the toolbox.
I was thinking about.
Well, use a social story for that. Now, the thing is, if he's nonverbal, would he understand the social story?
Well, then there's pictures, right?
You could use pictures. Yep.
Be rewarded if I don't, or reinforced or whatever. I will receive this.
You could try using social stories. Yeah, try different things. Now, the big mistake that a lot of times people make is they get too single-minded on just one way of doing things. See, that's top-down thinking. We're going to do everything with ABA. Well, that's stupid. You know, when I was a little kid, ABA type things were used with me to teach language. And then as soon as I learned my words, that was all faded out. And then it led into what we call 50s parenting. There were also some expectations. Yeah, try social stories. Now, I want to just mention another thing about the whole evidence-based thing. I'm a very practical person. And some dyslexic kids, where they see the print jiggle on the paper, if you print the homework on either gray, tan, light lavender, or light blue paper, it stops the print from jiggling. And somebody might say that's not evidence-based. I'm talking about colored paper. You might as well try it. So if something is safe, very cheap, only takes a few minutes to try it, I'm going to try it. I don't care if it's evidence-based. If something's dangerous, possibly like, too many drugs in little kids. If something is very expensive, or it takes 6 months to try it, then I've got to have a lot more evidence-based. Now, this has just made my associate of mine think about an interesting paper you might want to look at. It's called Environmental Enrichment is an Effective Treatment for Autism. It is an adjunct to speech therapy or ABA. And you need 3 keywords to find it on Google. Autism, environmental, enrichment, those 3 keywords. And what you do in this method, and it desensitizes the sensory problems, is you stimulate 2 senses at the same time. Like maybe smell cinnamon and touch carpet. So you're stimulating smell and touch at the same time. Or you're touching cold water glass, play some classical music. Always stimulating 2 different senses at the same time and always changing. And that is evidence-based. You can look papers up online. It's also something that's very simple and cheap to do. 2 15-minute sessions a day using household things, no expensive equipment. It's got the right price, too. Okay, back there. The movie showed, okay, the question concerned visual thinking. The movie showed visual thinking accurately. That was shown accurately. The pictures flash up into my head. They flash up in sequence. Well, working with Claire Day, I was with her for half a day. She videotaped the whole thing. I spent more time with the producer and the director and the writer. And the producer, Emily Gerson Sains, was the mother of a severely autistic child, and she wanted that movie to be right. And it took a long time to get everything together on it. And all the jobs are real that I did. The work stuff is probably the most accurate stuff in the movie. And of course, I really love the work stuff. All the real people, all the main characters are real, were there. Yeah, some events got switched around. The bull testicles were put on my vehicle. That did happen. Okay, right here.
I have a grandson who's not verbal.
Grandson, okay, age? 11 years old, nonverbal. Okay, I've got to repeat the question.
At home, he uses facilitated typing. He loves it. But he's not allowed to use it in school.
Okay, this what? Well, the question on the whole facilitated communication is that if you're touching them, you don't know who's authoring it. Now, the books that I recommend for nonverbals and type are, how can I talk if my lips don't move, which is out of print right now, it's supposed to be coming back into print, you might pick it up to use. How can I talk if my lips don't move? Tito types completely independently, and he jerks all around and looks really low functioning. Then there's Carly's voice, we got out on the book table, and then there's the Noki from Japan. And he's got The Reason I Jump, and then he's got the sequel, and I think the sequel is actually a more helpful book. These people type independently. The problem is, if you're holding his hand, you don't know who the author is. You've got to get your hands off of him. Well, that's the problem. You don't know who's authoring it until you. It's okay to hold their arm to get it started, but eventually you want to get to where you don't touch him. Now, there's kind of two different ways I've seen him type. Carly types extremely slowly. I've looked at her videos. Tito, I got to meet in a medical school library, and he comes in jerking all around, and I wanted to pick out something that he couldn't possibly be trained on. So I found this picture of an old Scientific American that was in the library of an astronaut on a horse in the middle of the desert with a spacesuit on. And I showed the picture to Tito, and I said, tell me about this picture. He types super fast, Apollo 11 on a horse. And then he gets up and he runs around. Now, Tito has to go in the back door to name things. If you show him a picture of a flower, he might say the colored part of the plant's called the flower. He'll go in the back door. I showed him a picture of cattle, and he's from India. So he types, in India we don't eat those. See, now the way that Tito typed, he typed very fast a sentence. There's no way it wasn't being touched. Then he'd run around. Then after he typed maybe 3 sentences, he'd have to rest for 15 or 20 minutes. And then Carly, she very laboriously and slowly types independent. And she talks about problems with screening out background noise, too much noise in a restaurant, she can't hear what's going on. Another thing that Tito talks about is how his visual system malfunctions, where the picture the images pixelate, just like a bad television. Got no bandwidth on the visual system. See, the back of your head, you have circuits for shape, color, and motion. Those are all screwed up. And he describes a jumbled visual world. Now, a lot of nonverbals will smell and touch things. The reason why they do that is those senses actually still work. So that's why they tend to smell and touch. Where hearing's cutting in and out like a really bad mobile phone, and seeing's a jumbled up mess like a pixelating TV with a bad internet connection. But those people, those 3 books are for nonverbals that absolutely type independently. Now, I fully endorse those books, and the only reason we don't have Tito Mukapadahe's book, How Can I Talk My Lips Don't Move, on the book table, because it's out of print. We're trying to get it right now. They're supposed to get it back in print. And if it doesn't go back in print, I might take it and photocopy it and put it online. Then you can get it back in print. Okay, we've got time for a couple more questions. I'm not looking at messages. Yeah, oh, wait a minute. One more, and then we're going to have to put at 10:30 if I remember right. All right, the question was, if you have an autistic child, at what age do you explain to them they're autistic? If you're doing super well, you might not explain it to them. And then there's going to be some kids where you have to explain it to them young. There's other kids, teenagers is when they get into trouble. Where I had a good elementary school, because my teacher explained to the children that a handicap that was invisible, wasn't like leg braces, where you can see it. And high school was a mess. Bullying, teasing, only place I was not teased was shared interests. Friends through shared interests. Horseback riding, model rockets, and electronics, I was not teased. Get them involved with shared interests. It could be cooking, sewing, art, music. It could be a lot of different things like that. And I've got where knowing about it, the social scene as a teenager, got a book, The Unwritten Social Rules. That might be really helpful for teenagers. I think this is something you have to use judgment on. Well, I just want to end up right here. I'll be around till 1:30, then I got to go to the airport. But just want to end up and say the world needs all kinds of minds. Thank you.